a bit frustrating, but hey ho. Let's get it back up and running. Seems to be working okay now. So let's see what's going to happen then, guys. Just give me 1 second. Just while we see exactly what's going to happen. It looks like we're all back up and running again. So we should be fine. So we should be good to go. Very soon. Excuse me. Right, I'm setting my chair, but we should be good to go. We are, what time are we on? Let's have a look, quick look on time. 10 to, so we should be okay. Because I think most people are going for the Jaguar by the looks of it, and there is, I believe, a Beetle. So it looks Daniel Pease is in the Jaguar at the moment, the plain white Jaguar. Obviously looking forward to seeing what he can do around here. Obviously Panos is in the Aston Martin liveried Jaguar, which seems to be a very interesting car. Is the Jaguar F-Type. Never really raced it though, which is very unusual for me because, you know, I normally just obviously now commentate, but if you can hear me on stream, guys, let me know please, and if you can't, then please let me know as well. But it looks like Rasmus is going into the Volkswagen Beetle. So he's going to be very quick. We'll see exactly what the Danish driver can do. He is going to be a force to be reckoned for, I reckon, after trying to push all the way last week. I think he ended up getting third last week. I'm not too sure when we were at Autopolis, but it seemed to be thereabouts. Sampa's obviously gone into the Jaguar, but an old Formula 1 styled livery. Nate Fletcher is also in a Jaguar, so he's back this evening. And then we have the beautiful Luke Reed inspired Ginetta from this season's livery, and then obviously Jeff's in his traditional grey and red and white style livery for Jaguar, and then obviously Tom Creed in the Beetle, followed by Xavier in the Beetle. So there's quite a few Beetles out there tonight, as well as Jaguars, so it's going to be very interesting, because I think most of them are trying to discard the Jaguar because it's one they don't want to be using later on in the season. Obviously, like I say, before the whole thing crashed, and had no idea exactly what was going on, but it's very good to see that 3 people are watching the stream, so welcome in. It is going to be very closely picked out. I think the likes of the Jaguar is going to be thereabouts, but it's going to be close for comfort, I think, between the Beetle and the Beetles that are out there, as well as the Jaguars. So, you know, we could be seeing very much proximity. Obviously, if you're new to the series, we do have a 10-minute qualification session, and then it is an hour-long race, so it's like around 60 minutes, and I believe up to a minimum of 6 laps you can use the softs or mediums, or vice versa, but as long as you use them compounds for at least a minimum of 6 laps, you can, you know, you're okay. Obviously, you know, it seems to be very closely picked at the moment, because Daniel Pease is top of the tree in practice with a 155.113, so he's going to be very closely picked out to see what he's going to do for this evening. No, he's not German, he's actually Portuguese. He actually pointed that out to me, but he's got a German flag because I believe he lives over in Germany, so he's probably going to be wanting a bit of sort of home knowledge, but just having a bit of a battle with Rasmus at the moment, going down the start-finish line, maybe trying to get a toe off that Beetle. It seems to be a sort of a green and peach colour, which looks very nice, I must admit. But it is going to be very carefully picked out for the pair of them. Hopefully we get a last lap showdown like we have done in the last 3 races of the season. Well, probably the last 2, maybe 3 rounds of the season that I've covered so far. It's going to be very carefully choose between the Beetle and Jaguar. By the looks of it, it looks like Tom Bennett has gone off at the first turn, by the looks of it. Just lighting up the tyres on the Jaguar. So obviously Darren's just warning people not to cross the white line going out of pit lane, because it will incur a penalty, just because, you know, a few times where people have just crossed the white line because they wanted to get back out onto track. But hopefully we get some close battles. It looks like Rasmus is trying to push on. We'll go on board with that Beetle. Providing he does not go into pit lane, we'll try and do a flying lap, because we have got 5 minutes until qualifying does start then. So he's going up through Advan, which is the latter half of the circuit already, but we'll see what he does. Into the NGK chicane then, which seems to be a very popular overtaking maneuver. Can be very tricky as he gets crossed up, but he actually abandons that lap, so we'll have to go with someone else. But we'll go with Daniel Pease then, because he's about to or is he abandoning his lap as well? Looks like he's about to abandon his lap, just to select his tyres. But we'll go with Sampa then. So Sampa is coming through the Ford curve here on the way down to the Dunlop hairpin. So we'll go on board with the Jaguar. So into the Dunlop hairpin we go then, which seems to be very closely. This is another overtaking manoeuvre if you can plan it just right. And he's about to go up to the Schumacher S, which is a very flat corner. I actually did very well round here. I actually made a move in my online racing career, but not obviously here in the Jaguar, but into, I can't remember what curve that is, but he gets a bit loose into Bliston, and then he's going to obviously try and fire it down towards Advan now, which hopefully he pushes on. Look, his current lap time is a 1:57.7 at the moment, is the finish driver, and then obviously through Advan up to the NGK chicane to complete the lap, so he's going to be very carefully putting it there. Try not to hop the curb too much because you don't want to incur a track limit penalty, which may seem to be a bit of a weird moment for some, but if you get a penalty, make sure you take it the lap you get before the start finish line, otherwise it will incur, and it probably will go double against you, and it may cost you dearly, especially if you get in the lead of the race and you get a penalty, and it could ultimately drop you down the order. But it's going to be very close then. I think most of them have gone Jaguar as well as a Beetle, so it's between the Jaguars and Beetles this evening by the looks of it. But looks like Darren's sticking with the faithful Jaguar F-Type, so we'll see exactly what's going to happen for him this evening. Hopefully he does really well, as Noah's got that 5-step penalty, exactly what I was on about. He's just in the box standard Jaguar livery for GT Sport, but he will be there and see what he can do, because as I was saying, Noah is an unstoppable driver. He was actually the one that ranked up the most points for his team on Friday in the team eliminator, which was very close to seeing. He actually won quite a lot of the races in that, and he's actually the current WTSC champion as well, so it's going to be very carefully keeping a close eye on him, should we say. We've got Xavier in the Beetle then. He's going to be pushing on. Let's see what he can do. He seems to be enjoying his racing though, because he's done very well to get to where he is. You know, he's got a podium there, and then he obviously took the last lap to Rasmus Ommeren at Catalunya, and then tried to take it to, and got the race win at Autopolis by beating Panos, so we'll see what he can do. It seems to be very close to see what is going to happen, but counting down for qualifying then. Let's see what is going to happen for qualifying. So we'll see how many people will jump out into there. So it looks like there's quite a lot of drivers heading out of pit lane already to go for this 10 minutes. It's exactly how it's going to be panned out. Look at them all. It's all like a swarm of bees that are very angry just to come out the final turn. I think Sampa is just about to leave for start his outlap. Darren's just jumped out of pit lane, maybe just to make sure that everyone is out, but to make sure there's no pit issues, because there has been a few pit glitches recently, but not recent as in now, but a couple of times where people have tried to leave pit lane and have ended up crashing into pit wall. But what's going to happen tonight then? We've got obviously the likes of Nate Fletch, Lee Fitzy as well as Noah joining the top split for this evening. Sampa's going to try and push on. We know how well Sampa will get thereabout. He has been quite outstanding in recent times, where he's pushed and then obviously, you know, he's not, I thought he was going to get on the podium last week, but then a few mistakes at Autopolis cost him. But we'll see what Panos can do then, because Panos seems to be setting the pace quite well with that, with what he's done, whether it's been in the Ferrari or the cars he's been in. But looking what he can do in the Jaguar, he hop, skips and jumps the final chicane. But 8 minutes left then, just to start the first of probably maybe 2 or 3 flying laps around here. So Xavier goes into pit lane, Naflex goes into pit lane. There's quite a few wanting already to change tyres just because they can. It's just how it is, just so they can get the starting tyres maybe pushing on. But the likes of Lee Fitzy, Noah, Panos and Daniel, and of course Tom Creed are staying out to get their tyres. So Sampa goes in as well, so be very interested to see what they can do. Obviously, you know, they will get another outlap, so the times won't go against them at the moment, so they won't be able to get a lap time in until the next lap, because they've obviously gone into pit lane. So looks like Darren's decided to go in as well, but we'll see what Panos can do. Going into the Dunlop hairpin, he's about to push his way up to the Schumacher rest. There's not really many people to get a toe off or try and get some air, but he's got clean air, so it will be a very quick lap. It could be in the 155s, maybe 154s if he plays it right, but we'll see exactly how he goes for this evening. About to push on up towards Advant. Seems to be sweeping right. It is not an easy corner just to get right. If you got, you know, cars could go side by side. We can see 3 moments, but he's about to come through the NGK chicane. Let's see what he's going to do. He's got Noah chasing him, but Noah's not far behind, but he's about to come through the last turn. Let's have a look. The lap time is a 155.4 at the moment, so that is the benchmark then. So he's top of the tree. He's going to want to try and push on. Noah a 156.5 at the moment. That seems to be a bit thereabouts. Lee Fitzy 156.6. So the Luke Reed inspired Ginetta livery. Daniel Pease then 155.4. He's a quick time there. Tom Creed 157.6. That puts him 5th fastest at the moment. The rest are going to be on their flying laps now because of going into pit lane first time round. So we've got just under 5 minutes and 25 seconds remaining, but it looks like at the moment it is between the 155.4 for Panos, 155.481 of a second. So he's only looking at that the graphic here, he's only around about 0.008 of a second. Is Daniel Pease at the moment with 5 minutes left. Could he go pole position, or is Panos going to try and stop that from happening? Or have we got some of the guys that are really fast that have pitted early and that are going to take the battle to the likes of Panos to try and get a lap time? We'll see what Xavier can do. He's going through the hairpin now. So he's got that Beetle. The Beetle seems to be a very nice car. It seems to be very agile. It was very agile at Suzuka in the first round of the championship. Most of them were using the Beetle for the first round, but some are now using it around here on home soil for the Beetle. But Panos goes into pit lane then. So that is allowed. I think Noah's also dived into pit lane, if I saw on the graphic. So Daniel's also gone into pit lane. Noah's actually clipped that wall there, which stopped him from going into pit lane. So Tom Creed stays out. He could be a driver that could get pole position. He actually did very well getting into the top. I think it was round. He's gone 156.5. Xavier though 154.833. So that's very interesting. Nate Fletch is 5th fastest at the moment, 155.7, and Rasmus was a 155.543. So the Beetle of Rasmus is 4th at the moment. Nate Fletch is 5th in that Jaguar. Seems to be doing well. Darren with a 156.227 in the Jaguar. but he's now 6th at the moment. But that seems to be very close. We'll see exactly what's going to happen for this evening. But Samper is done a 156.020, so that puts him 6th at the moment. So it's very close to see exactly what's going to happen between these guys. But hopefully it goes to plan for him, and he'll be there. Daniel Pease is still sat in pit lane at the moment. Whether he's got 2.5 minutes to think, right, am I going to get a lap time in, or is he just playing it safe? Seems to be just sat there for a moment, but we'll see what Rasmus can do then, because he is on a flyer at the moment, going through the latter half of that lap. Now he's going to be he's round about 0.5 down on his time, so that's going to cost him dearly. He's probably made a mistake somewhere, but looking at the times then, looks like Xavier will be on provisional pole position with just 2 minutes to go. This is probably how things excuse me, how things are going to pan out for him. He wants to try and push on, he wants to try and get another victory. He's trying to get clean air, but he's just gone from one side to another, maybe just to get out of Panos' air at the moment to try and get clean air. Looks to me at the moment the likes of Rasmus, and Rasmus is not, is he still there? He's still there, he's just obviously sitting out. I think that 4th place is safe. Darren is up into 5th then, 155.6 at the moment, so you know he's on row number 3 of the grid with Nate Fletcher alongside him. Samper's 7th, Tom Bennett in 8th. He did a fastest time was a 156.406, so he's 8th in the Jaguar, followed by Noah. Noah's got to be one of them, but he's actually purple in that sector now, so he could go officially pole position if he plays the cards right. This is exactly what he wants. He wants to try and push on. He's a seasoned pro now. He's had a full season of WTSC on a Friday night, so he's going to be there about 32 seconds remaining, so you know he's got to try and push on. He's at the Dunlop hairpin at the moment up to Schumacher S, so we'll see what he can do. Tom Creed on an outlap, not going to get enough time in to get a flyer in, unfortunately, but he's 10th at the moment. Lee Fitzy 11th, and Jeff in, of course, 12th at the moment. But what is Xavier going to do? It's coming through the last chicane. Is he going to stay pole position, or is Noah going to pip him? Because we think Noah may pip the Beetle driver to pole position, but qualifying now has officially finished. They will get the checkered flag this time round. Panos still stays 2nd at the moment, but Xavier still stays provisional pole position at the moment. Panos is 2nd. Daniel Pease just coming out of pit lane, so he will not improve on his time. Rasmus is still there in pit lane. Darren's still coming through the final turn. He may have some in that Jaguar. Noah, however, is 7th, so he is 155.9, so we thought he was going to go officially pole position. Darren jumps up to 3rd then with a 155.447, so that's a good lap time for the Jaguar driver. So it is Beetle versus Jaguar versus Jaguar versus Jaguar. It's Beetle, Jaguar, Jaguar, Jaguar on the next row. Then it is Jaguar, Jaguar, Beetle and Jaguar rounding up the field then. So Xavier's pole position is safe, and that seems to be the tail order then. So Rasmus will be in 4th. He's actually down in 5th now, because with Darren going up into 3rd, so Daniel and Rasmus are obviously 4th and 5th, but that is kind of the advantage or disadvantage for when you go into pit lane and you stay there for a bit and thinking your lap time will be safe, but obviously it still is safe, but they are going to have to try and push on. It will be a very interesting moment for Xavier to try and get away and get a good start for the Beetle, but you know, there's only a handful of Beetles tonight. There's the rest are all Jaguar F-Type, so it seems like the Jaguar F-Type is the car to be the absolute best, but the Beetle, however, seems to be very closely matched as well. So the Beetle followed by the Jaguars, the 3 Jaguars of Panos, Darren and of course Daniel Pease. Then you've got obviously Rasmus's Beetle, but the 3 Jaguars are going to be ready to literally pounce if they get a decent start. But we'll be seeing what's going to happen in a moment or two. We're just waiting for the timer to officially run down to say qualifying has been complete. So we'll see exactly how things are going to go. But looking exactly for the time being then, so the Jaguars are there. And it's going to be very close. I hope we do get a last lap showdown like we did at Catalunya as well as Autopolis. So let's see exactly what is going to happen. So it is Xavier followed by Panos and Darren, then it is Daniel followed by Rasmus, Nayfletch, Noah, Sumper, Lee Fitzy, Tom Bennett, Tom Creed and Jeff at the rear of the field then. So we are getting ready for an hour-long race at the Nurburgring GP to round out the first half of the season. And we've got the 5 red lights on the starting gantry. They're about to flip to green. The revs are building as I'm mine under the lights turn to green. Who's going to get a decent start into turn number 1? It looks like Darren's got that Jaguar already pounced into second place. He's got Panos alongside him. He's got to be very careful. The guys have got to be very careful not to take each other out here. But the cones already go flying because Xavier runs wide into turn number 1. But it looks like Nayfletch followed by Samper, Noah, Lee Fitzy, Rasmus. He's down in 9th then. He's had a bit of a moment, but Tom Bennett running wide then, allowing Tom Creed to go side by side with him into the Mercedes-Benz Arena, followed by Jeff. But at the lead then is Panos at the moment. Seems to be, he got a good start by looks of it in that Aston Martin inspired liveried Jaguar F-Type. Darren is second at the moment with Xavier hot on his heels, with Daniel Pease trying to do exactly the same with Noah up into 5th then, with Lee Fitzy also there. Nate Fletcher's dropped down to 7th, but Xavier tries to make a move into the hairpin on Darren, which he does, which then allows the Jaguar to get swamped by that Beetle at the moment. But it looks like Darren's going to try and push on with Daniel Pease there, trying to get onto the back of this group. He's trying to latch, but he's trying to still be thereabouts with Noah, trying to latch onto the back of these two as well. It seems to be very carefully picked. Lee Fitzy's still there. Darren's got a penalty, however, 5/10 penalty. He's not going to like that. You can imagine he's going to have a bit of rage inside that racing helmet of his. He's going to have to now push on. He's down in 5th now, but he's got to be careful because Lee Fitzy is on a charge as well. There's a lot of cars gagging for position going up towards the NGK chicane for the first time to complete the lap. Nayfletch gets there in 8th, then Tom Bennett in 9th with the likes of Tom Creed in 10th, then Jeff in 11th with Rasmus down in 12th for the moment. But we've got 58 minutes left and we're not even... We've kick-started lap number 2, but it's not like we've even started. But it seems like it. Noah's trying to get a move on to Daniel Pease into the first corner. Is he going to do it? Yes, he is. Got to be very carefully picked into that first corner because cars can run wide. But there was a car running wide, was there? Or was that just my imagination? Well, it looks like Darren's under threat from Lee Fitzy at the moment. This seems to be a bit of a battle because Darren's going to have to try and push on that green and blue Jaguar F-Type, trying to push back up to where he wants. He got a good qualifying lap to get onto 3rd on the grid. He's now going to have to push his way back forward if he wants to try and get onto the podium. Looks like at the moment then that Xavier is putting Panos under pressure. We'll try and join back in them groups in a moment, but Xavier is trying to put Panos under considerable amount of pressure, going out of the Dunlop hairpin into the Schumacher S. Let's see if he's going to try and make it stick. The Hoppins skipping them curbs not too much though, but he's right on the back of Panos' Jaguar at the moment. He's going to try and go on the outside line in towards the first turn. Not the first turn, I beg your pardon, into Bliston, bit of contact. But it looks like the side-by-side, this is actually sensational stuff. It could be very carefully. If you get the move right, you will have the inside line for Advan. You've got to be very careful though, because you will have the NGK chicane coming up. Oh, there's still side-by-side. Look at this. This is exactly fantastic stuff. Look at the skill. But Panos still gets there. Panos a bit slow out of the NGK chicane. We've allowed Xavier to still get alongside. He's almost still side by side with Panos going into the final turn. Down the start finish line we go to tick off lap number 2 then. It looks like Noah and Daniel Pease are still trying to do exactly the same, but I'll tell you what, there's a few battles galore at the moment with the likes of Lee Fitzy and Darren as well. Both know each other from their times of racing. Lee Fitzy in the Luke Reed inspired, United inspired Jaguar livery. Hop skips and jumps that curb into turn number 1, gives Darren a bit of a tap, but it's not too much to fire him off the track and spinning round into a spin. Sampers still there in 8th with Nate Fletch in... Sampers there 7th, I do apologise. Nate Fletch in 8th with Tom Bennett, Tom Creed 9th and 10th, Rasmus 11th now, and Jeff in 12th at the moment. But going back then towards the race lead, it has been another battle between Xavier and Panos. Are they going to do exactly what they did a lap ago and go side by side? It could be very carefully picked out between the pair of them. Let's see what's going to happen. You can see the brake discs glowing like mad in that Beetle. It's going to be very carefully. 55 minutes left. It seems a lot of battles galore between these two at the moment, both trying to get a good line out of the Schumacher S. Xavier's going to try and do exactly what he did a lap ago, try and go side by side. Panos thinks, not in your life, sunshine, you did this a lap ago, and it nearly was there, but they're trying to still go side by side into Bliston, but they're trying to go into Advan. This could be an easy opportunity, but I'll tell you what, well, let's see what's going to happen, because they've got the NGK chicane coming up in a moment or two. Is Xavier going to try and get it done? He's thereabouts, but he's trying to get onto the back of Panos' Jaguar. It looks like Noah's got past. Oh, he's still there in 3rd at the moment. Xavier's trying to get all over the back of that Jaguar. The Beetle seems to be the car to look at the moment, but Noah has the fastest lap then. Seems to be thereabouts, but you know, the Jaguars are having a bit of a battle. There seems to be between Darren, Lee Fitzy, Nate Fletch is still there with the likes of Samper and Tom Bennett trying to catch up to the back of these guys. He's got Tom Creed behind him and Rasmus Omren. Samper and Nate Fletch only have a bit of a touch going to turn number 1. Samper's got to be very careful that he doesn't take out Tom Bennett at the same time, but Tom Creed is also there with Rasmus Omren, but there's almost a 3-car train between the likes of Tom Bennett, Samper and of course Tom Creed, but Nate Fletch is also there, so it's almost a 4-car battle for at least 7th place at the moment. It could be very carefully picked. Looking at Tom Bennett though in the red and white Jaguar, trying to make a move on Samper, but Samper is closed the door on him and saying, not in your life, sunshine, you can't get past here, because I'm trying to push on. But looking at the battle for 3rd then, have we got Daniel Pease back into 3rd then. What stellar move into the Dunlop hairpin. That was an absolute inch perfect between the two Jaguar drivers. Fair play, giving each other room. And I'll tell you what, Xavier's going to try and go for that famous outside line yet again. This is absolute unstoppable stuff. This is actually heart in your mouth moments. Excuse me, heart in your mouth moments, because it could all easily go wrong. But I'll tell you what, going into Advan with side by side with Panos Forganis, you do not want to be going side by side at any great speed. But into the NGK chicane, Xavier's trying to catch up to him. The Greek is holding on for dear life at the moment, but you can just see how close and close Xavier's getting to that Jaguar. He wants that lead, he wants the lead of the race. Daniel P still 3rd, Noah in 4th then, Darren still 5th, Lee Fitzy 6th, Nate Fletch still 7th, Samper 8th, Tom Bennett in 9th, and Tom Creed in 10th. But he's got to be careful, because Rasmus Omren is on a charge. The Dane is literally on a charge now. That Beetle the green and peach Beetle. He's going to be thereabouts. Is he going to go side by side into turn number 1? Bit of contact between the pair of them. Almost. Oh, it's got a bit close between the two Toms there, which has allowed Rasmus to get there. But I don't know whether that was to do with the likes of Rasmus trying to make a move and then obviously trying to be brave enough. But that's dropped Tom Creed down to 11th at the moment. But if I remember rightly, Tom Creed's having a bit of an issue. Or is it Tom Bennett with his issue? But Xavier's got in front then with Panos, but he's run a bit wide there. Panos is going to try and do exactly them moves that Xavier's done a few laps ago. But into the Dunlop hairpin we go then, onto lap number 5. I'll tell you what, so far so good. It's been a bit paint swapping, but it's not been too bad, I suppose. But Xavier now takes the lead of the race then. Excuse me. With the likes of Daniel P's 3rd, Noah 4th at the moment, Darren still in 5th at the moment, with the likes of Lee Fitzey trying to catch up. So you can just see how well Lee Fitzey's going to go. He's in a good position at the moment. He's 6th at the moment, trying to catch up to Darren. Lee Fletch in 7th. He's got a bit of a gap from Samper. Tom Bennett is all over the back of Samper though. However, 50.5 minutes left of this race, but Tom Bennett is trying to get Samper in towards the NGK chicane. Are they going to be able to get it done? Rasmus is still there. Bit of paint swapping between the pair of them, but Rasmus is also there. Got to be very carefully, because if you look at that number 8 Beetle, he is going to be pushing. It looks like Samper is getting a money well spent, because he's got Tom Bennett right behind, and Rasmus Omren is there as well. But we'll try and go up to that group of what's up in front at the moment. But Tom Bennett side by side with Samper trying to go into turn number 1. Rasmus is there. Rasmus is giving him a bit of a tap, saying, "Come on, mate, let's get going." But it's these battles between 8th, 9th and 10th respectively, between Samper, Tom Bennett and of course Rasmus. But you can just see how close it is getting between the likes of these three. Samper runs a bit wide, almost chops the nose off Tom Bennett on the rejoin, which Tom Bennett would probably not appreciate that. He's still trying to get past that Jaguar Racing Jaguar F-Type at the moment. He seems to be saying, "You're in a similar car to me, let's go." You know, the Beetle is catching us. But it seems to be thereabouts. But we'll try and see what's going on further up the road in a moment. But Samper is still holding on for dear life. But Rasmus is there. He's going to try and take a 7/10 split in bowling terms. If he goes into the Schumacher rest, all three of them are almost nose to tail. A bit of gravel goes flying. But it's going to be very carefully. It could be 3 wide into this sector. It could be very carefully picked, because looking at Samper and Tom Bennett, this is exactly how things go between the pair of them. It seems that Tom and Samper are having a bit of a battle. Rasmus is almost there. Tom Bennett gets through into 8th place. Could almost be 3 wide. Oh, this could be very careful. 3. Oh, I thought it was all going to be 3 wide. Tom Bennett gets there. Samper gets squeezed out to dry, because he's got the likes of Rasmus and Tom Creed also there. But Samper actually goes into pit lane then. So he's thereabouts. But you've got Panos, well, Xavier still leads then, with Panos in 2nd, followed by Daniel Pease, Noah and Darren, followed by Lee Fitzey, and of course Nate Fletch. Tom Bennett, Rasmus and Tom Creed now are your 8th, 9th and 10th, as well as Jeff trying to catch up, and Samper is in pit lane. So seemed to be a very just abandoned moment for Samper. But the battle is raging between the likes of Rasmus and Tom Bennett at the moment. Tom Creed gets a bit loose. That just shows exactly, if you push that Beetle to the absolute maximum, it can fight away from you in great spirit. But to tell you what, fair play to Tom Bennett and of course Rasmus, both racing very well at the moment. Tom Creed trying to catch back up to the pair of them. It could be very carefully between the pair of them. We'll see exactly what happens. Tom Creed locks up a brake, almost smashes into the back of Rasmus, but don't think that was actually going to be intentional if that happened. But you know, Rasmus is already trying to catch up to the back of Tom Bennett for that 8th place at the moment. Let's see what's happening further up for the time being. Darren's still there in, of course, 5th place at the moment with 1.1 seconds from Lee Fitzy at the moment then. Still there with the likes of Noah in 4th, and Daniel Pease in, of course, 3rd at the moment, Panos in 2nd, and Xavier in 1st place. Let's have a look. Is that battle between Tom Bennett and Rasmus still going on? Yes, it is. Tom Bennett is holding on for dear life. He has got Rasmus Ommeren all over. But I think Tom's trying to push on, trying to say, not on your life, sunshine. I want to carry on. But Rasmus, you know what Rasmus's driving style can be. It can be robust, it can be a bit 50-50, but he's there at the moment. He's 9th place at the moment, so I don't know what happened to him at the start. It looked like he dropped down, it looked like he had a bit of an issue, but he's trying to push that car to its maximum. You can just see how close he's getting towards the Jaguar. It seems the Jaguars are holding on for dear life at the moment for these battles, but I tell you what, it is going to be very carefully picked between Rasmus and Tom Bennett. Is it going to be able to be pushing on? 45.5 minutes left, and I'll tell you what, it is looking very spicy at the moment for 8th and 9th at the moment. Could be soon 8th, 9th and 10th if Tom Creed gets involved, but he's still there in 10th place at the moment. But the battle for 4th then looks very interesting because Darren's caught up to Noah. Is this something we have been expecting between Noah and Darren? Is this exactly what's going to be coming for the likes of GT Supercars in the new season? Because Noah will be up into GT Supercars for winning WTSC, but this could be a very interesting moment because Darren is trying to take 4th from Noah as they go up towards the NGK chicane, but Noah has that line perfectly. It could easily invite Lee Fitzy to a party, but Panos jumps into pit lane then, so it could be very carefully between the pair of them. But Noah goes into pit lane then, that's allowed Darren up into 3rd, Lee Fitzy now 9th then, so that's exactly the right time to do it. Fletch will be 5th. Tom Bennett and Rasmus are still there 6th and 7th now because the other guys that have gone into pit lane, so it is going to be very carefully between Rasmus and, of course, Tom Bennett. Could be a very close battle between the pair of them at the time, but Rasmus thinks about it, but Tom Bennett squeezes him and says, right, I want to be there. But looking at Tom Bennett then, holding on for dear life at the moment, must feel at home with that Jaguar at the moment. He seems to be doing a stellar job trying to push on, but it could be very close to see what is happening. Rasmus is still there. I tell you what, he's going to be an easy target to try and get Tom Bennett for that 6th place. It's going to be very carefully between the pair of them. Let's see how Tom Bennett latches onto the back. Fletch still there in 5th at the moment. We have Lee Fitzy 4th, Darren still 3rd at the moment, Daniel Pease 2nd, Xavier still leading the race then, but Tom Bennett and, of course, Rasmus Ommeren. It's going to be very carefully picked between the likes of Tom Bennett and Rasmus. Rasmus is holding on for dear life at the moment, trying to get past Tom Bennett, but you can just see how close it is getting. But it is very much nose to tail between these two for 6th and 7th. But we'll see exactly where the likes of Noah, and Noah's come out in 12th. Sampa is there. Sampa's got another lap. Noah's 12th at the moment, Panos is 10th, but Tom Bennett and, of course, Rasmus Ommeren, they're still nose to tail between each other going into the final turn. So this is absolutely unstoppable. If you like what you've seen here, guys, please do like and subscribe to Eldar Sim Racing. because it would help us out massively, and it would also help me massively for my commentating. I'll tell you what, it is an absolute privilege as Rasmus tries to take the move into turn number 1. He gets it done this time round though, but Tom Bennett fights back and says, right, we're fighting another day. It's like 2 fighter jets having a battle, but I'll tell you what, fair play to these guys at the moment. But it is getting very carefully picked between these two at the moment, with around 41.5, nearly 41.5 minutes to go till the checkered flag does drop in around number 6 of the championship. It is very close. I'll tell you what, we are looking forward to seeing exactly what is going to happen. But you can just see Tom Bennett trying to push on and trying to say to Rasmus, right, let's carry on having this dice. It seems Lee Fitzy's got that gap to Darren. It's around about 2.1 of a second between the pair of them at the moment, but Darren's still there in third at the moment, pushing on. Then Daniel P's in second, with the likes of Xavier still leading. You know, he probably wants to still lead. He wants to try and make it 2 wins from 2. Is he going to be able to do it? But I'll tell you what, Rasmus Ommeren and Tom Bennett, they're still thereabouts. This is exactly how the racing pans out. This is why I love this championship. It provides great entertainment. It is going to be very carefully picked out between the likes of Tom Bennett. Xavier goes into pit lane then. Daniel Pease goes into pit lane. Will that allow Darren to get the lead of the race, or is Darren going into pit lane? We'll soon find out. On the graphic on the left hand side, he actually takes the lead of the race then, so it will be very carefully between these guys. It looks like Nate Fletch will stay out, but it's going to get very carefully between Samper and Noah. These two are having a battle for 11th and 12th at the moment, so the battle for 11th and 12th, roughly last place at the moment, but they will be getting there into their respective positions. Samper runs, no, it wasn't Samper, I do apologise, it was actually Noah, runs wide at the latter half of that lap. Lee Fitzy coming out of pit lane then. You can just see the Billy Ruffian Jaguar coming out of pit lane, so it's going to be very carefully between Samper and Noah for 10th or 11th. Jeff there in 9th then. Daniel Pease on the mediums, with Panos still there on the mediums at the moment. Samper has got just under a quarter of a tank in that Jaguar. We'll see exactly what else everyone else has got. Noah's got just almost a full tank. He's almost side by side with Samper. Lee Fitzy is also with just under a full tank. So Jeff's almost towards the empty, but he's not too far. Daniel Pease is just after half a quarter of full tank there, but Panos is still pushing on with that full tank. You can see the fuel slowly depleting. It is on a bit of a fast depletion, but Xavier in 6th at the moment then, with Tom Creed in 5th place at the moment. Xavier is almost side by side with the same car. I do apologise for coughing for a second. But Xavier is there into 5th place then, with Tom Creed dropping down to 6th place at the moment in that Beetle. So the Beetles are 4th, 5th and 6th at the moment, because you can just see Rasmus trying to catch up to the likes of Tom Bennett with around 38 minutes to go in this race, the final race of this year, because when we race round 7 and 8, as Tom Bennett gets a bit sideways, it will be into the new year. So it is the last race of 2021. But looking at Rasmus then trying to get onto Tom Bennett. Darren is still leading then, so he's trying to push all the way. You can see them racing mediums slightly now getting worn, and the fuel's getting towards having the fuel light on. But we know how Darren likes to race. He probably wants to get a race win and wants to end this season, this part of the season, on a high before we go to the last 2 rounds of the season. But he's thereabouts. He's pushing on quite well, going through the Schumacher rest then. he's raced a Jaguar before, so he knows how it races. Excuse me. But we'll see exactly. So we'll see exactly what's gonna be. So we'll see what Darren's gonna do. So we'll see exactly what's gonna happen. Nate Fletch still there in second. Tom Bennett now still in third, but there's been a change for fourth place. Rasmus has dropped down because Xavier is on a mission. You can just see the purple, white and black Beetle is trying to get Tom Bennett for that third place at the moment. Rasmus still stays out, Tom Bennett still stays out there, yet to pit. Tom Creed is there in third place. He's trying to hold off Xavier at the moment, with Rasmus still there in fifth. Panos now 6th, Daniel P 7th, Sampa is 8th. But we'll see exactly how things are. But it looks like Xavier's still battling with Tom Bennett. They both have a bit of a paint swap. So we'll see exactly how things go for the time being. Nate Fletch, excuse me, Nate Fletch is there in second place at the moment. Darren is still leading. Xavier up into third then. Tom Bennett trying to hold off Rasmus, but both of them are almost out of fuel. 35 minutes left then. So we're not far away from the halfway mark. And it looks like Rasmus is going to try and push on for getting fourth place rather from Tom Bennett, but I think they will be both going into pit lane very shortly, with the likes of Panos rather in 6th place at the moment, with Daniel Peace in 7th, Sampa 8th, Noah now 9th. He's got that gap between himself and Sampa at the moment. There's a gap between Noah and Lee Fitzy, 2.5 of a second. Tom Creed just coming out of pit lane, so Darren goes into pit lane then, so he's left it to lap 13, at the end of lap 13. Nate Fletch also does the same, so that will allow Xavier to jump back into the lead. Tom Bennett is also in pit lane. Rasmus stays out, however. You can tell the fuel's gonna, that fuel's gonna wear down very quickly if he doesn't push on. So Daniel is still back into third then, Panos second at the moment, so it's very close between these guys. Rasmus is he's the longest stayed out at the moment is Rasmus, but we'll see how well he does. We can just see that battles galore, but 33.5 minutes left then, with the likes of Panos and Daniel Pease battling. Daniel Pease is actually the current GT Supercars champion, which is almighty impressive to think about it, because he's worked hard to get there. He's actually also the Eldar BTCC champion in the Wednesday British Touring Car Championship. He was actually champion of that, and he was quite surprised about that, but he's obviously trying to push on and try and get up to Panos and trying to say, right, I want second place. That's still allowing Xavier to have that advantage. Rasmus still there in 4th, Sampa 5th, Noah 6th at the moment, Lee Fitzy 7th, Darren back out in 8th then on the softs with a bit of, not even a full tank, but he's got a bit of fuel in there. Nate Fletch, a bit more, less fuel taken on, but he's on the softs. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the softs are going to compare after racing on the mediums, but they will be pushing on. Tom Bennett on the softs, half tank of fuel, so he's decided to put less fuel in, and excuse me, less fuel in that Jaguar, but then have the likes of so Tom Creed is still there on the mediums, and then obviously Jeff on the softs and a bit of fuel. But Xavier's got half a tank, so like so Sampa's gone in as well. Was Sampa another one that was going to take it to pit lane? No idea why the blue flags are waving. I think the blue flags are waving because the likes of Sampa and Rasmus were in pit lane, unless they were lapping Jeff, but I'm not too sure. But 31.5 minutes then remaining, which has allowed Xavier to still push on. Panos is still there second at the moment, but he's under attack from Daniel at the moment with 0.2 of a second going into Dunlop hairpin. So the Jaguars are having a bit of a fight. That Beetle is too far ahead at the moment to catch up. You can just see it going through the Schumacher S like a shot. Whereas Panos and Daniel are nose to tail almost. Going out of the Schumacher S, it's going to be very close between the pair of them. Are they going to be pushing on Panos and Daniel? Noah's still there holding off Lee Fitzy for 4th place at the moment though, however. So the Jaguars are 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th at the moment. But Noah is still there. Where is Erasmus? 9th place at the moment. So the Dane's going to have to push that Beetle all the way if he wants to try and get back up to the front. Tom Creed 10th. Sampa 11th then, so Sampa left it a bit late as well to go into pit lane. He's on the, I think he was the first to pit though. Yes, he was the first to pit, and he's actually, I think he realised he was getting struggled a bit, so he's on the softs with almost half a tank. Jeff's still there in 12th then, but is the battle for second still brewing? Yes it is, because Panos is still holding off Daniel P, so that second place at the moment, the white Jaguar versus the Aston Martin livered Jaguar, but it seems to be very carefully between the pair of them, so we'll see exactly what's going to happen. Noah is still there, looks like a bit of nose to tail between the likes of Lee Fitzy, Darren, and of course Noah, and of course Nate Fletch now, so these cars are battling. Noah's got season pro as in Darren Baldwin, who knows the Jaguar very well, to overtake Noah. I thought he was going to overtake him then, but Noah closes the door. But the battle for second is also brewing, so we've got to be very careful where we pick our excuse me, pick our moments. But Panos is still there with Daniel P chasing him down, but Noah is almost getting overtaken by Darren. Nate Fletch is also there. They're trying to make it free. What? Oh my goodness. Darren gets into 4th, Nate Fletch gets 5th then, with Noah down in 6th and Lee Fitzy in 7th. Tom Bennett in, of course, 8th at the moment. Rasmus 9th. Tom Creed in 10th. Sampa 11th. Jeff in 12th at the moment. But I tell you what, it's very close, isn't it, at the moment? It's very close for 4th place as well. It's almost 4 cars for 4th place. It's unreal. Nate Fletch is trying to get that Sky sponsored Jaguar past Darren's brightly blue and green Jaguar F-Type. Up towards the NGK chicane we go then. It's going to be very close to see what's going to happen. Is Darren going to hold on for 4th place at the moment, or is Nate Fletch going to try and take that move to Darren? Noah runs a bit wide, goes grass cutting, doesn't want to be doing that. 28 minutes left then. This is absolutely tooth and nail at the moment. It seems to be very close, as you see. Darren goes one way, he's trying to break the toe from Nate Fletch at the moment. He's trying to break the toe, but Nate Fletch thinks about it. Just there. Noah comes in too hot there into turn number 1. That's allowed Lee Fitzy to almost go side by side. Now he's back onto the dirt. That's allowed Lee Fitzy into 6th place then. So very carefully picked between the battles at the moment between Nate Fletch, Noah, and of course Lee Fitzy. So Darren and Nate Fletch are battling. These two are actually, I believe they were actually teammates in a race. I'm not too sure. I'm sure they'll correct me, but Darren is there. Lee Fitzy in 6th then. What is happening for second place at the moment? Daniel's trying to get very closer to the back of Panos. This is absolutely insane. The Jaguars are having a constant battle with each other at the moment, so it's not just second and third, it's fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh and seventh at the moment. You know, it's absolutely unreal. Rasmus is still there at the moment in ninth place. Tom Bennett is in 8th at the moment. Sampa in 10th, then Tom Creed 11th, and Jeff in, of course, 12th at the moment. Look at this. Xavier has that 8.5 second gap between Panos and Daniel at the moment. Daniel's almost nose to tail with Panos now going out the final turn. They both get a bit crossed up. They're both trying to get the toe off each other across the line, but I'll tell you what, Daniel's going to try and make a move into turn number 1. I think he will. 26 minutes remaining in this race. Oh my goodness, this is absolutely unreal. This is unreal. It's absolutely fantastic. Darren's still there in 4th at the moment. Nate Fletcher in 5th. He thinks he's still 6th, Noah 7th at the moment. But I'll tell you what, Daniel's got Panos, but Panos is on the... This is absolutely unreal between the pair of them. They were going both off wide, and I thought it's going to be contact galore between Daniel and Panos. Panos is there. Panos is trying to still lurk. The yellow headlighted Jaguar versus Daniel Peasy's white Jaguar. Oh, it's getting very close for second. But this is exactly how we like this racing. This is absolutely unstoppable. Just coming up to 25 minutes left on the clock. It has been a joy to watch yet again. I'll tell you what, we are going to be looking forward to seeing what's going to happen for round number 7 and 8 after the Christmas break. But I'll tell you what, it's all about round number 6 at the moment. Daniel in 2nd, then Panos now 3rd. Darren's still in 4th at the moment. Nate Fletcher's still catching up. You know, the Jaguars seem to have a bit of a battle of their own at the moment, because Xavier still leads the race. It's got a lot of interest. That Beetle seems to be a very quick car at the moment. Lee Fitzy's still there in 6th at the moment. Noah in 7th. He's not caught up to Lee Fitzy just. I think them racing mediums and that fuel is slightly now starting to hurt him. Panos goes into pit lane then, so that could be very close. It could be a bit of a stint where it could be the final stint for him, because he's got 24 minutes till the race finishes. But that's allowed Darren and Nate Fletch 3rd and 4th. That's allowed Daniel Pease to have a bit of a breather though. So, you know, Nate Fletch is going to put Darren under pressure. Darren has got to look in his mirrors and think, well, not literally look in his mirrors, but he'll probably look in his mirrors and think, oh, not in your life, sunshine, not in your life. But these two have had a fantastic battle. You cannot go wrong with the battles. This is absolute how things go. Lee Fitzy and Noah, these two will be facing each other next season, I think. I'm not too sure, but it's going to be very interesting to see exactly what happens. 23 excuse me, 23 and a half minutes to go. Noah's still there. Tom Bennett in 7th and Rasmus 8th now. Panos out of pit lane then. Racing softs, a bit of fuel on board. So he's going to try and push on. He's got around 23 minutes to try and get back to where he wants to be. He's got Rasmus ahead of him. Sampa at 10th then. Tom Creed 11th. Jeff 12th for the moment. But Xavier, let's not forget about this guy. This will give him a bit of moment for a minute with 23 minutes to go. But Xavier still leads the race then. Still has the fastest lap with 1:55.257 at the moment. But Darren is under threat from Nate Fletch at the moment. Is this how it's going to pan out? You know, can't see exactly what's going to happen. But I'll tell you this, Nate Fletch is going to try and get that Sky sponsored Jaguar alongside Darren's beautifully green and blue Jaguar F-Type. Both cars equally matched, but I'll tell you what, it's going to be very scary going into NGK chicane. It looked like they both nearly had a bit of contact on the run-up, but fair play. They've given each other room. They've given each other a lot of respect. I'll tell you what, this is what I like to see. between the pair of them. Let's see what's happening. Lee Fitzy is still there, 5th place. Then Tom Bennett and Noah side by side. Then the red versus the green Jaguar. So the Jaguars, they're almost like they're having a battle of their own, because the Beetle of Xavier still leads. The next Beetle of Rasmus is down in 8th, but Noah's gone on the attack again into turn number 1, trying to take Tom Bennett. Has he done it, or has he gone too wide? He's almost gone too wide, but he's lost a bit of it there. Has the pressure got to him, or is he just playing it safe? You can just see how much fuel and how much wear is on that Jaguar. The tyre wear seems to be hampering him now quite a bit, with just coming up to 21 minutes remaining. Could be very carefully between the pair of them. Tom Bennett still 6th, Lee Fitzy 5th at the moment, Nate Fletch in 4th, Darren still 3rd at the moment. Fair play, you know, 1.4 between him and Nate Fletch at the moment. Daniel Pease in, of course, 2nd place at the moment. Xavier still leading, but it's Noah still caught up to Tom Bennett. No, he hasn't. Tom's slightly caught up to Lee Fitzy now, so that is going to be a very close battle between the likes of Lee Fitzy and Tom Bennett for what could be 5th and 6th. Yes, it is 5th and 6th, but the Billy Ruffian Jaguar, it's almost out of fuel as well. It's almost out of fuel with 20.5 minutes to go. This is going to be very careful. But is Lee Fitzy going to go into pit lane? Tom Bennett's fuel light just comes on. That is exactly what we need. Well, we don't need the fuel light to come on, but you know, we need things like that to spice it up a bit. Noah's fuel's also thereabouts. Rasmus is there, but he's under pressure from Panos Vorganis. That is right. 2nd place man a couple of laps ago is now up into 6th place, with the likes of Rasmus in 5th place, the Beetle. So the fastest lap goes to Panos at the moment with a 1:55.236. He gets that move done on Rasmus. Rasmus thinks about it. It looked like Rasmus had gone out of shot there for a moment or two, but Panos is still there in 5th place now. He's a hold down for dear life from the likes of Rasmus's Beetle at the moment. So Nate Fletch is still 4th, Darren's still 3rd. These two are still almost nose to tail. But I tell you what, Panos and Rasmus, these two, I don't know whether these two, you know, they've had the battles, of course they have, but these two are going to be pushing on to try and get into the podium. But I think they're a bit of a way off yet. With 19 minutes to go in this race, it seems that Panos is there in 5th place with likes of Rasmus in 6th. It could be very careful between the pair of them, so we'll see exactly what's going to happen. It is obviously close as you like, but I tell you what, 18.5 minutes to go. It seems, but Xavier goes into pit lane then. Is that gonna... Daniel Pease goes into pit lane, so that's going to allow Darren... Darren's going to jump... I thought he was going to jump into pit lane then. He went towards the pit lane and he thought, no, I'm staying out. It's almost they did a Kimi Räikkönen and said, when Kimi Räikkönen's race engineer says, right, you know, you need to pit. Or no, he's like, they ask him to pit, and then it's like, or he's in pits, but they, I think they told him to stay out. But it's almost like that. So Darren gets the race lead then on Nate Fletch. Nate's trying to push on. Xavier back out in 3rd then, so that's a very interesting move. Panos 4th, Rasmus 5th, Daniel Pease back out in 6th then, with bit of fuel on board and fresh softs. Samper 7th, with the softs a bit more wary. I think he's pushed a bit too hard tonight. He's got a quarter of a tank left. Tom Creed just almost a quarter tank on the mediums, a bit of wear there. Samper seems to be pushing that Jaguar to its limits. Tom Bennett, however, in 9th with softs and a bit of fuel. Lee Fitzy with the same, and Noah 11th as well with the same as well. And poor old Jeff in 12th at the moment with almost a full tank, and the softs are not even one as of yet. But the battle for first and second, is this going to be taken to pit lane? Because I have a feeling these two are going to make some time. But Dave Fletch flashes the hazards at Darren and saying, "What are you doing, mate?" Dave Fletch is almost out of fuel. But I tell you what, these two are actually battling quite well at the moment. This is exactly how things go. But Nath goes into pit lane then. That's going to allow Darren to escape up the road with his race lead. Xavier will take second place then for the time being. Excuse me. With Panos third, Rasmus in 5th. It will be 4th place now because with Nath Fletch in pit lane. And then obviously with the likes of Daniel P's 5th. So it's going to be very interesting. Sampa goes back into pit lane then. Just a bit. Tom Creed goes into pit lane. So there's quite a few cars now going into pit lane with around 15 minutes and 44 seconds left. This is exactly how the race is panned out tonight. It has actually been pretty decent, if I must admit. But I'll tell you what, Darren is going to try and push on. He's got 15.5 minutes to go. But is he going to make another pit stop to say the least and get a splash and dash, maybe a fresh pair of shoes, aka tyres, onto his Jaguar and then push on? It could be very close between him. Xavier's still second at the moment, so it's around about 5.4 of a second between the two. And now of course Panos is there in 3rd place at the moment. Rasmus in the Beetle 4th at the moment. Daniel Pease is 5th at the moment. Nate Fletch back out in 6th place then. So he's got the softs, a bit more fuel to boot, so he will be happy with that. And I'll tell you what, it could be towards the end for the stints now. But Lee Fitzy and of course Noah for 8th and 9th. Excuse me. 8th and 9th respectively with 14.5 minutes to go. So Noah is still there. So we'll see exactly what's going to happen between the pair of them. So Lee Fitzy and Noah. Darren actually goes into pit lane this time round as predicted. So he's dropped down to 3rd. He probably will drop down to at least try to figure out where he'll come out. Possibly 5th, maybe 6th, but 14 minutes to go. Could be very interesting. What we were looking at between Noah and Lee Fitzy. Noah's trying to make a move into the NGK chicane on Lee Fitzy. He does that with ease. So he's going to be thereabouts. So Darren is still he's come out in 5th place. That is a good pit stop because that, or has it? Because that's allowed Nate Fletch on warmer tyres to catch up to the back of Darren. So these two are going to have a nice battle yet again between the pair of them. But Darren's on the colder tyres at the moment. He's got a bit of fuel on there, but a bit more softs, a bit more fresh softs now. So he's going to be thereabouts. Nate Fletch is pushing on, it seems. But I'll tell you what, Darren's going to be on the colder tyres, and I'll tell you what, it's going to take a bit, or a moment or two. But I'll tell you what, Nate Fletch is pushing. Not literally pushing, but he's pushing to try and get that 5th place back, which he knows for a fact he will do. 13 minutes left. Let's have a look. Is Rasmus going to head into pit lane this time round? Could be very interesting to see what's going to happen, because you know, Darren's pushing like Jaguar as much as he wants to say, right, Nath, let's go, mate. But let's see what's going to happen between the pair of them through the Schumacher S then, with 12.5 minutes left. This is getting very tense. Noah's dropped back down to 9th from Lee Fitzy. Is there an issue with Noah, or is it just the way these two are panning it out? Tom Creed there in, of course, 10th place at the moment. Sampa catching him up. Samper is trying to push on. He's trying to literally just get to the end and survive. Rasmus does go into pit lane as predicted, so that's allowed Daniel Pease back up into 3rd. Jeff in 12th at the moment. Xavier still leads them with around 12 minutes left, so it's going to be very carefully pits. Darren is now got the tyres up to warmth. The blue flags are waving furiously. I think that's because Rasmus is in pit lane. So Nath is trying to take 4th away from Darren at the moment, both side by side into the first corner, but they both give each other plenty of room. So 11.5 minutes to go. This is absolute insane between the pair of them. With the likes of Panos in 2nd, Xavier still 1st at the moment. Darren's still under threat from Nath, but I'll tell you what, these two have raced really well tonight between each other. I'll tell you what, it's nice to see the respect. It is really close as you like, but Darren's still trying to push on. He wants to try and catch up to the other guys to try and get onto the podium, but he's got 11 minutes left. Darren is still there in 4th. Nate Fletch in 5th, followed by Tom Bennett in 6th. Rasmus 7th, and he's come out in 7th with the likes of Noah and Lee Fitzy having that battle for 8th and 9th at the moment. Noah's trying to get that move done. Oh, he's got it. Ho, ho, ho. Lee Fitzy's probably thinking, yes, let's go. Let's have this battle between the pair of them. And try and join that battle between Darren and excuse me, and Nath in a moment, but Noah is pushing on, and he's got, how much fuel has he got? He's got half a tank, so he may do it, you know, with around 10 minutes left. Just got to be very careful. He's got to just not shift too hard, otherwise it will decrease the fuel quite a bit. He's got to not even redline it either, because that will also hamper his fuel load. But Lee Fitzy's still there. 9th for the moment. Tom Creed 10th, Samper 11th, just trying to get thereabouts. He's still trying to get up to that Beetle. Obviously Jeff in 12th for the moment. Jeff is actually a lap down, unfortunately, but the battle for 4th between Nath and Darren, 9.5 minutes to go. This is going to be a very tense 9.5 minutes. Let's see what's going to happen between the likes of Darren and Nath. Are they going to be battle? Are they going to have this battle? Because I think they are going to have one. It seems to be a bit of an interest between these two at the moment. Fair play. We'll see what's happening further back. Is Lee Fitzy going to catch up to Noah? He's thereabouts. Noah's catching up to Rasmus though very quickly. Excuse me. Is he trying to catch up to Rasmus? Rasmus is also trying to catch up to Tom Bennett, however. Tom Bennett's doing very well in 6th place at the moment. So he's going to try and literally push all the way. It's going to be thereabouts. But Nate Fletch is still trying to catch up to Darren. They're only around 0.7 of a second. This is absolute unreal. 8.5 minutes then. Oh, this is getting close now. This is getting very tense. But this is exactly how things go. It's now 1.0 of a second. Darren's extended that advantage now. I think Nate Fletch made a bit of a moment. But I tell you what, it's getting very close between 6th, 7th and 8th at the moment. Maybe even 9th if Lee Fitzy gets up closer. But at the moment it seems there's a lot of things. But I think Rasmus is trying to get up to 6th place at the moment. He's driving the socks off that Beetle. It's like a shoe. But you know, it's going to be very carefully picked out. But it's been very close between the pair of them. It's been very close all night between each driver. The battles have just been absolute unreal. Darren's now around 1.4 from Nate Fletch at the moment. It's 1.5 now. Daniel P's 3rd. Panos, he's still there in 2nd place at the moment with Xavier still leading. This is absolutely fantastic. Xavier's trying to convert pole position to get another race win. I think he's going to hold on for dear life with around 7 minutes and 10 seconds left. Daniel Pease in third, then Darren's still fourth at the moment, so fair play to him. He's not given out, he's not given up. It's going to be very close to see exactly how it's going to be. It's around about 2.1 seconds, so the gap has come down towards Rasmus and Tom Bennett at the moment. So I'm around about 0.3. You can just see that Beetle. Oh, I thought Rasmus actually had the move, but I tell you what, Tom Bennett is going to be there. Got to be very careful how they pick the moves now. 6.5 minutes left. Only 6.5 minutes left of this race. It has been very excuse me. It's been very careful between the pair of them. I'll tell you what, Tom Bennett is going to be under pressure from Rasmus at the moment. It is round about 0.9 of a second, or 0.7. Oh, Rasmus! Oh, he got the move done before he got to the entry of the NGK chicane. 6 minutes left then. This is absolutely unstoppable. Tom Bennett is like, not your life, sunshine. I'm going to try and get that 6th place back from you. This is absolute unreal. We know how the racing likes to be. Xavier still leads them, but Tom Bennett is still catching up to Rasmus. These two had a bit of a paint swap moment earlier on in the race, but I'll tell you what, 5.5 minutes to go. This is absolute why I love this commentating, especially on this league. It is absolutely unreal. Rasmus runs a bit wide though. Tom Bennett, is he going to try and chase after Rasmus? Is he thinking, right, got just coming to 5 minutes now. 5 minutes to try and catch up to that Beetle. Noah is still there. Noah's trying to latch onto the back of these two. But I'll tell you what, 5 minutes left is going to be... It's going to be asking for a lot of interesting moments, isn't it? Because I'll tell you what, it has been absolutely unreal. There's not been any really major silly moves. There's not been any silly dive bombs. There's been just a few paint swapping. There's been a few moments where they've had just a bit of side by side and a bit of taps, but it's not been too bad. It has been quite enjoyable, and as per usual, you know, it's been quite carefully panned out. Rasmus rather is now 1.2 of a second from Tom Bennett, so Tom's gonna have to try and push on. Speaking of Panos, he is second. He's around 10.5 with 4 minutes to go, and look at that, his fuel light has come on. He's gonna have to try and make a splash and a dash, because I don't think sorry about that. I think he will have to make a splash and a dash to literally get the fuel in, but he's got 3.5 minutes nearly to hold on for dear life to try and get that second place snapped up. But I'll tell you what, Xavier is still leading. He has been unstoppable. Pole position in qualifying, and now he's about to get another race win in the top split for this evening. I'll tell you what, I think Panos will have to go in pit lane and get a splash and dash and just make it, or try and make it to the end. Darren is still there in 4th place at the moment. Nate Fletcher in 5th, Rasmus 6th, Tom Bennett however 7th. 3 minutes to go then. Noah in 8th, Lee Fitzy now 9th, with Tom Creed in, of course, 10th. Samper 11th. Samper's had a bit of a torrid time tonight. Sure he won't mind me saying that, but he's in 11th place at the moment, and Jeff in 12th, a lap down. As we go then, 2.5 minutes. Xavier is going to push on. I think this could be the final lap, or maybe the penultimate lap. Panos goes into pit lane then, like we said. He had 3 litres of fuel in that tank. it wouldn't have made it. It would not have made it. Daniel P's in second then. Darren will probably get onto the podium this time round then, like he did last week. You know, trying to push that Jaguar all the way. Now Fletch 4th. Panos is there. What's he put? He's put not enough. He's put a bit of fuel in, but is it? He's trying to tell us that this could be literally how he wants it. Rasmus 6th. Tom Bennett in, of course, 7th. Noah 8th. Lee Fitzy 9th. Tom Creed 10th, and obviously Samper 11th, and Jeff in 12th. A lap down, but I tell you what, a minute and a half to go. This could be the last lap. It may be the penultimate lap, depending on how quick Xavier powers that Beetle. He's thereabouts though, however. He's going to try and make it back-to-back wins as well. That has been an absolute astonishing performance by Xavier. I'll tell you what, he will be delighted. He will be most likely then pushing up towards the MGK chicane. He's got a minute to go, so he will probably get another lap in, but he might be the only one unless Daniel Pease can get to the line before the timer runs out. But it's not going to be a last lap showdown. Excuse me. It's not going to be close enough to get a last lap showdown like it has done at Catalunya or Autopolis. But we've got 31 seconds left. Darren is still there in, of course, third place around. Nate Fletch still in 4th. Panos 5th. He's got around 20 seconds, but Rasmus 6th, Tom Bennett in, of course, 7th, Noah 8th, Lee Fitzy 9th, Tom Creed 10th, Samper, oh, Tom Creed's almost out of fuel, Samper 11th, and Jeff in 12th. But I'll tell you what, onto the last lap then, this is getting close, because the likes of Darren and, of course, Nate Fletch, Panos stays out for another lap, luckily, so Rasmus finishes 6th due to the time, but at the moment then, so Xavier goes on to the final lap with not much fuel, but he's got around 16.2 of a second as a gap, and I'll tell you what, he will be the first back-to-back, if I remember rightly, first back-to-back, or maybe second back-to-back winner of this top split in Lobby 1. But I'll tell you what, fair play, he's done really well for Xavier to get pole position, fastest lap, as well as the race win. Daniel P's 2nd, and Darren will be 3rd. Tell you what, fair play to Darren, he's not put a foot wrong in that Jaguar tonight. He has been absolutely unstoppable. He's done very well to push on that Jaguar there. Nate Fletch in 5th, and Panos, Nate Fletch 4th rather, Panos 5th. But I'll tell you what, this is all about Xavier. I'll tell you what, fair play. He has not put a foot wrong through the final turn. He will be about to cross the line. As long as he, you know, does very well. Flashes the lights in the light, and he takes a well-deserved victory. And that is exactly how things go for a stellar drive. I'll tell you what, Daniel Pease will be happy with 2nd. Fair play. He's not put a foot wrong in that Jaguar. I'll tell you what, he will be delighted to get 2nd place, no doubt. But I'll tell you what, Darren, you are on the podium yet again. Flashes the lights in the light, he will be happy with that, and I'm happy with that too. I'll tell you what, Nate Fletch 4th. I'll tell you what, I am happy with every single driver tonight. They have not put a foot wrong. Panos 5th place, we knew he had to take a splash and dash. But I'll tell you what, the race has been really close. There's not been a lot of incidences, but I'll tell you what, fair play. But Xavier takes the fastest lap and pole position and the race win. Excuse me. I'll tell you what, it's going to be very closely picked to see what's going to happen for round 7 and 8 of the championship. Just give me a second while I just share the replay. and I'll get the race results in a moment when it's shared the replay. So we'll see exactly what's going to happen after the Christmas break for round 7 and 8. But I'll tell you what, it has been really unreal. It's been absolutely close tonight. The racing has been absolutely phenomenal. And it's going to be absolutely close as you like to see what's going to happen for the rest of the last 2 rounds of the season. I can't wait to see what's going to happen, but you know, it's going to be very careful. But I'll tell you this, it is going to be absolutely close as we like, and we'll see how much it's going to be close. We'll see who's going to join us. We're going to see who's going to literally it's going to open up the championship table. I think, you know, a couple of drivers have surprised me tonight. I tell you what, it has been a very unreal. We'll just wait for the replay to upload and obviously share, and I'll get the race results and I'll quickly go through them, and then we will be good to go. I'll tell you this, it has been absolutely top class racing tonight from everyone in this lobby. It has been very careful. I'll tell you what, who knows exactly what's going to happen. So there we go, we do have so I'll get the screenshot of the race results. Just give me a moment or two. But I'll tell you what, we'll go through them very quickly. Xavier takes the race win and the fastest lap, then Daniel Pease in 3rd, followed by Darren in 3rd, followed by Nate Fletch 4th, Panos 5th, Rasmus 6th, Tom Bennett 7th, Noah 8th, Lee Fitzy 9th, Tom Creed in 10th, followed by Sampa 11th. Sampa's had a bit of an issue with that Jaguar tonight, and then Jeff in 12th. Fastest lap with Xavier was a 1:44.8 on lap 23. I'll tell you what, guys, what is going to happen for round 7 and 8 after the Christmas break? I'll tell you what, guys, I'm going to go very shortly because my voice is going, but I've been Hoppers for Eldar Sim Racing. I wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Let's see what 2022 is going to happen. I tell you what, 2022 is going to be a very good year for racing in Eldar Sim. I hope it's going to be a blast. So guys, I've been Hoppers for Eldar Sim Racing for the final time in 2021. Until then, I'll see you in the new year. Take care. Ta-ra.